Good morning and welcome to Unity RGB online virtual Sunday morning service. It's an unusual weekend because on top of the fact that we can't congregate because of the COVID virus, we are also about to get hit with a little tropical storm action tonight. Well, this is Saturday, you're watching it Sunday morning, but as I'm recording it Saturday morning, and it's already starting to get a little bit of dark out here. So things are unusual. We have a special guest today, a speaker, Miss Birdie Shawker from San Antonio, who I think you have seen before and you'll see her again. I'd like to begin then with the announcements, and the announcements are that the classes are still continue. Tuesday night at 7, Let's Get Metaphysical. Thursday evening at 6:30, the ARE group. And then at 8 o'clock, the collaborative meditation. And the Let's Get Metaphysical and the collaborative meditation are now being shared by multiple of the centers. So it's really interesting, and we invite you to join us. And you can go to our website, to the splash page, and it has all the links and everything you need to know. So let's start by taking a deep centering breath and changing our focus from the outer world to the inner world. And we look towards the peace and the healing power of the divine nature in which we live and move and have our being. And we call upon that healing nature to take care of all of us as we proceed through this valley, shadow, and this tunnel. And we will soon be coming out of it. But in the meantime, we turn in for peace and for strength and for courage to continue forward. And so it is. Let me begin with the invocation that is shared throughout all Unity Centers. There's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the Good Omnipotent.
Hey everybody, here's my video. I'm just trying to cope with all this craziness. I pretty much rely heavily on friends and family, prayer and meditation to see me through. I love you guys. Stay well. Bye.
Once upon a time, once when you were mine, I remember skies reflected in your eyes. I wonder where you are. I wonder if you think about me. Once upon a time in your wildest dreams. Once the world was new, our bodies felt the morning dew that greets the brand new day. Couldn't tear ourselves away. I wonder if you care. I wonder if you still remember once upon a time in your wildest dreams. Sorrow, when the music plays, I hear the sound I had to follow once upon a time. Once upon beneath the stars, the universe was ours. Love was all we knew, and all I knew was you. I wonder if you know. I wonder if you think about it. Once upon a time in your wildest dreams. Let us now share the Unity of the Valley Affirmation and Vision. Unity of the Valley is an expanding center of the Christ light, mighty to attract its good and radiate good to others. Centered in God, we express the indwelling Christ.
As we start this time of inner reflection, let's begin by getting comfortable. Remove all objects from your lap, place your feet on the floor, and sit up comfortably in your chair. Relax the muscles in your face, shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Feel your hips, legs, feet, and toes relax as well. Release any areas of tension you feel in your body. Take a deep, centering breath. Slowly inhale, gently hold for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale. Repeat a few times. Focus on your inhalation and exhalation as you continue to relax your body. Gently breathe in and out. Just relax and breathe naturally. You now feel the increased sense of relaxation to your body with every breath. Feel calmness and peace wash over you. Now let's center our attention to the daily words, which for today is pray for others. Our Bible verse is from Philippians chapter 1, verses 3 to 4, and reads, I thank my God every time I remember you, constantly praying with joy in every one of my prayers for all of you. Today's affirmation is, I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer. Let's say that together once. I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer. Our message reads, I am honored by the trust people place in me when they ask for prayer support. As I pray for others, I see each one for whom I pray as divine, and know the truth that each one is a living expression of God. My purpose in prayer is not to focus on the particulars of a situation, but to hold a higher view. As I center in prayer, I hold the vision that all challenging circumstances are moving towards a satisfying resolution in one way or another. I release all thoughts about the situation that prompted the prayer need and focus on the activity of God. As I pray, I see the life, the love, the wisdom, and the power of God at work, healing, strengthening, and establishing peace in all those for whom I pray. Now let's close our eyes and take these words and this affirmation into the silence.
Down in my soul, I love the silence. Down in my soul, I love the silence. Down in my soul. Got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day. Down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home.
Hello everybody, this is Reverend Ivery, and I'm giving a shout out to Unity RGV. And what I've been doing during this time is letting go of things that no longer serve me so that I can have more energy, more peace, more love, more light to send out into the world, to help the healing of the world, to be more in meditation to help the healing of the world. So I'd like to invite everyone to be in that space of sending out more love, more joy, more peace, more happiness into the world so that the world can heal faster and we can get together and do what we love doing of worshiping, learning, fellowshipping, and eating. So I just want to say I miss you, and I'll be glad when we all get together. And till then, be safe, love everybody, and have fun. And so it is. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce now our guest speaker all the way from Floresville, San Antonio, basically, Texas, Miss Jennifer Birdie Shawker.
Hello and good morning, friends from Unity of the Valley in Far, Texas. I am so delighted that Reverend Tommy asked me to come today and speak to you, and I just wanted to let you know how much I'm appreciating getting to know so many of you through the collaborative Zoom classes and meditation that we're having, like Reverend Tommy's class on Tuesdays, and the meditation that we're having on Thursday nights. I'm getting to know a lot of you. I appreciate you so much. I love your warmth and welcoming spirit. And I could talk all day about how wonderful it is for us to collaborate on Zoom and learn all about unity together. I think it's a stunning demonstration of our oneness. But I'm here to talk about something else. We're here to talk about dreams. Your wildest dreams, as a matter of fact. And that's the title of our message today. And by dreams, what I mean is the kind of visions and experiences we have when we go to sleep. And there is some wild dreaming going on these days. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. Just go on Twitter and search the term #pandemic_dreams. There is so much pandemic dreaming going on in the time of COVID-19 that there's even an account on Twitter called @IDreamOfCovid-19. And what this account does is retweets most of the most interesting pandemic dreams. You know, I learned about pandemic dreaming back in April from an article I read from CNN. So this past week, I decided to go back onto Twitter this week and see if that particular hashtag pandemic dreaming, was still trending. And it is. So, my friends, I cannot possibly tell you all there is to know about dreaming in one short Sunday message. As a matter of fact, last summer around this time, I was teaching a 6-week class on the topic of dreams, and I couldn't fit everything together in then. But I've had a few things on my mind lately about dreaming. With so many people dreaming so vividly and in such a universal manner, I have to wonder, is this somehow important? Is this something to pay attention to? And if we do pay attention to it, would we benefit from it? So for today, we're just going to try to focus on the aspect of figuring out if these pandemic dreams, or other dreams for that matter, are worthy of our attention. So the theme of dreams is just about everywhere across all time. In the Bible, there are 21 dreams recorded. Literature across all time, cultures, is just full of references to dreams. Even pop music is full of dream references. I am so sure that if I asked you right now if you could remember a pop song about dreams, that you would rattle off at least a couple of titles without any effort. Dreams are important in a lot of the world's religions. Native population in Australia, known as Aboriginals, consider what they call the dream time a more important reality than one's waking state. In Buddhism, there is the practice of dream yoga, and I could talk about dream yoga all day long. But to sum it up, it's a process of going from lucid dreaming, and lucid dreaming is where one is aware that they're dreaming and can kind of navigate and control what they're doing, to a kind of lucid living where the insights gained in lucid dreaming are available to one in their waking state. So there's this wonderful story about dreams in the Native American tradition that illustrates why I first gained an interest in dreaming, which I have been looking at this for about 20 years now. There's a Native American tribe who lived in the New England area of the United States, and their greatest dream legend is their creation story. According to the myth, their great spirit initially lived in a void, a world with neither form nor function. So the Great Spirit summons the Great Turtle to form all the lands of the world. And so he piles clay on top of the Great Turtle his shell, in order to form mountains. But then the Great Spirit came to a moment of indecision. What kind of creatures should live in this world? As he thought about it, he fell asleep and began to dream. In his dream, he saw all the animals and the people that fill the world today. And he thought he was having a nightmare. When the Great Spirit woke up, what they discovered was his dreaming had created all the animals and people of the earth. And the more he looked at it, the more he saw how everything in nature works together and towards a beautiful purpose. So this is kind of similar to how I came to embrace dreaming. And what I do is I record my dreams in a journal. I engage in research into their symbolic meaning every day. And if I don't dream, I might write down how I felt when I woke up in the morning. See, how all this started was I was in a situation not unlike what many of us are going through. At the time, I was pregnant, and I know we're not pregnant, all of us, but what I had to do, that is like all of us, is I had to stay isolated on bed rest for an entire 3 months. I was brand new to the area where I was living, and so I had few interactions with anyone other than my husband, Frank, who at the time was putting in 12-hour days at the base. And I was having some really wild dreams. And I thought some of the things I saw in the dreams were rather alarming. And so finally, after trying to ignore the dreams and trying to dismiss the dreams, I had to seek out someone knowledgeable about dreams to help me understand them. And what I learned from this very wonderful, knowledgeable person was to take on my dreams through the lens of curiosity, which is a wonderful way of diffusing fearful emotions and looking at the world in general. And I learned that many of the things that I saw in my dreams that one might consider fearful were often signs of excellent emotional and spiritual progress. For example, perhaps we see fire, the symbol of fire in a dream, and that might seem like a super scary thing until we consider all the things that fire might symbolize beyond destruction and hell, which it can represent. But there's other things such as passion, desire, rebirth, resurrection, eternity, hope, and purification that fire can represent. Are dreams important? Well, when we look to science doesn't know exactly why we dream. They have a lot of theories as to that. And what I can tell you as a registered nurse is that the type of sleep that we have when we are doing the most dreaming, which is called rapid eye movement dream, is really rapid eye movement sleep is vital to our health. If we don't get enough sleep, especially that wonderful rapid eye movement sleep when we're having the majority of our dreams, we get sick. Lack of quality of sleep deteriorates our mood. It deteriorates our ability to cope and can cause us to have challenges with our mental health. In general, scientists they suppose that dreams might be about some kind of subconscious communication, training us for when we go through stressful situations in life, or a way for the brain to kind of sort through our day, or a way of confronting emotional issues. Now, when we look to scripture, perhaps one of the most famous biblical dreamers of all time was Joseph of the Hebrew Scriptures. We all know the story, so I'm going to give you a Cliff Notes version of my own here. So, poor Joseph. At first, his dreams seem to get him into a world of trouble, right? He's his dad's favorite, and he gets this spiffy coat of many colors from his dad, right? And his siblings are miffed. And they kind of lose it when David rather boastfully relays his dreams of power over the family one day to his brothers. So they've just had it with Joseph, right? And they put him in a well. And then they dig him out of the well and sell him into slavery. And then he later gets thrown in jail after being falsely accused of rape. I mean, the poor guy, right? He keeps on dreaming through his hardships. And I think he comes to an understanding of why dreams are important. That they are not some kind of individual gift of personality, but rather something that arises from the one mind. He turns his efforts in dream interpretation for others to be helpful. He helps the prison guards, he helps the prisoners, until when you interpret dreams, words gets out about it. Trust me. Until one day word gets out about it, and he interprets a dream for the Pharaoh, predicting a famine, and he counsels the Pharaoh to prepare for this. And using his powers for good, he saves many lives, including those of his family. So Charles Fillmore was the co-founder of Unity and a great spiritual explorer. And throughout his life, he explored the role of dreams, and there's much to be found in his writings about the role of dreams and visions. And about Joseph, Charles Fillmore writes, "The Joseph faculty is the dreamer of dreams and the seer of visions, which are expressed always in forms and symbols. If you are a vivid dreamer and can correctly interpret your own dreams, you may know that you are developing your Joseph faculty." You see, there's a lot of ways to interpret Scripture. And one of the many ways we can understand Scripture is that it's a book about us and its spiritual truth. We don't always have to interpret it literally. In other words, there is something of ourselves in every character and circumstance in Scripture. We have within each of us a Joseph ability or potential to elevate the way we understand dreams. Joseph went from understanding his dreams as a special gift of his own to something larger, a more universally helpful thing that does not spring from personality. And so can we. We understand dreams are important in Unity because of this kind of concept we have of a higher power that is not separate from us, despite appearances otherwise. We have, sorry, that's my dog, Hobo, shh. We have our day-to-day awareness of doing things like, I don't know, pulling on our pants or thinking about things we're going to have for breakfast, or even deeper thoughts, right? But that's only one part or one phase of the one mind. We know there's other phases of the one mind, where scientists tend to refer to parts of the mind like they're almost separate. Like they say there's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, where they theorize that dreams occur. Spiritually, we understand that it's all a bit more seamless than that. We know that there's a conscious mind phase, and that's that day-to-day awareness I spoke of earlier. There's a subconscious phase of mind, recording all the events that we go throughout our day, and then the superconscious phase of mind, which is the mind of the divine. But all of those are phases. In truth, there is only one mind. I know it's kind of tough to imagine because of the paradox of oneness. We seem separate. Dreaming and endeavoring to understand our dreams is one of the many ways to overcome that paradox. So in Unity, we have this 5-step prayer process. And I find it so interesting that the first step in this process is to relax. And we do this because we know relaxation helps shift our awareness to that of oneness. And I kind of have this theory of my own that the ultimate sort of relaxation is that of sleep. And any sense of separation between the phases of mind is really just not there. And we have access to all sorts of universal wisdom. Our dreams are treasure troves of divine wisdom and guidance when interpreted correctly. And sure, they can provide us with all sorts of amazing opportunities for personal growth. But when viewed through the lens of oneness, I think they could change the world. Surely our pandemic dreams are important when we consider their origin, and therefore worthy of scrutiny. I realize that in our pandemic dreaming, some images, especially those if you're a healthcare provider, can seem really frightening. But what if we took on a perspective of, curiosity in interpreting them? It is possible that some of those scary symbols mean more than what we might think of before we study or meditate on them. Charles Fillmore wrote that people often overcome their problems. Charles Fillmore wrote that people often think over their problems just before going to sleep and get a solution in their dreams or a solution immediately upon awakening. And this, he said, was because their minds were so active on the intellectual plane that they couldn't make contact with the silent inner plane where ideas work. So here's what we know from science so far about COVID-19. And I can tell you as a nurse, we're still learning things all the time, so expect new information and change. But this is what we know so far, is that when we're unified in purpose, working together, wearing masks, physical distancing, washing our hands, and keeping that distance, we tend to have less cases of the disease. What more could we learn from our pandemic dreaming? And are there spiritual solutions? I mean, we seem to be doing this dreaming together anyway, right? So where to start in interpreting dreams? Well, that's a whole nother topic in and of itself, and there is a plethora of resources out there to help. Even if you don't remember your dreams, there are ways to train your mind to do just that. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I can make a recommendation for you. This is the book. It's called The Dream Workbook by Jill Morris that we used for a class last year at Unity San Antonio. And this was recommended to me by Reverend Jimmy Scott. I'll just close by sharing another story with you about dreaming, and it's about my wildest and best dream ever. I'm going to have to give you a little background information to kind of help you understand it. You see, I was a long-distance caregiver for my mother for many years. And as I tell the many caregivers that I meet in the hospital where I serve as a chaplain, caregiving is a tough gig. It's not for sissies. Especially if maybe you had a complicated relationship with the one you're giving care, or if the person you're caring for, like my mother, had dementia, it's even worse. In late stages, people with dementia can't really tell you their desires, and if you haven't had certain conversations with them in the past, it's just a lot of guesswork as to how they would like things to be. So my mother did make her transition, and afterward I struggled. I struggled with a sense of doubt. And I did all the things you're supposed to do. I did personal inventories and reflection, talked with people, and on an intellectual level, I knew I did fine. But still, this nagging sense of doubt would come upon me from time to time. So then one night I have this dream. And in the dream, I'm in this gorgeous castle. And I am all dressed up like a princess in a gorgeous gown. And I have this lovely crown. And there's a hallway. So I walk through this hallway into a throne room. And who do I see on the crown, or on the throne, but my mother? She was really beautiful. Her long red hair in waves, just her gorgeous blue eyes and all these little fun freckles that she had on her nose. She wore this magnificent gown and an ornate crown on her head, and it all just took my breath away and gave me so much joy to see her looking so wonderful. And then I remembered my doubts, and I bowed really deeply to her and started to apologize, and she stopped me short. Now, keep in mind, my family's from New York, so sometimes speaking in a rather abrupt manner means we love you. So my mom says, cut that out. Stop worrying. We're good, kid. You did fine. And I stood up, and she said to me, just do me one favor, would you? And I said, anything, Mom. She says to me, you see that crown on your head? Keep it on straight. And then I woke up, totally at peace. I've never had a moment's concern about the care of that I gave my mother ever since, especially after I took the time to study all the magnificent symbols in that dream. And I do keep my crown on as straight as possible now. Had I not realized at one point in my life that dreams are important and worthy of scrutiny, something to meditate on, establish a practice of keeping a record of my dreams and scrutinizing them, I might not have remembered that dream and still be plagued with doubt. But fortunately, I had that regular practice, and it was well established by the time I had that dream. It's pretty wild to think about, right? So if a dream has that kind of individual healing power, imagine how we collectively could create a healing for the world, perhaps through correct understanding and interpretation of our collective pandemic dreams through the lens of our oneness. I thank you for listening, my friends. Dream on and be blessed this day.
Thank you, Birdie, for that wonderful message and very interesting message about dreams. And we might be hearing more about that in the coming time. Perhaps Birdie will put together a class as she did some time ago, she said. But we'll see. But thank you so much for being here today with us and sharing your message. Now comes a time in the service where we offer our tithes and our offerings. And I want to remind you that we do have PayPal and Venmo and Cash App, as well as, of course, you can send checks into P.O. Box 1661 in FAR 78577. We still have to keep the doors open. I mean, sort of. We have to keep things running anyway, so we appreciate help with that. So we take our offerings in our hands, and together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I'll give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true is magnified in kind, God. I'll give it back to you.
So in closing, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I'd like to once again thank our guest speaker, Miss Birdie Shawker. And I want to remind you that Brownsville service is at 10 o'clock on Zoom, and that link is on our webpage as well. So I invite you to visit their service at 10 o'clock and then come visit ours, and I invite the Brownsville people to do the same thing. So we try to get more collaboration going. So thank you again very much for being here today. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Be safe through this storm. Be safe through this COVID-19. Continue to wear your masks. Wash your hands. Social distance. Be blessed. Goodbye.